Hello and welcome to the final episode of my quest system series. Today we are going to add the last features to our slot-based saving and loading system by adding the ability to also save quests and its states. To get started, what we want to do is open up our blueprints folders, go to our structures, and here we want to create a new blueprint structure called s_saved quest. And in here we want to keep track of all the data that we have to store for every quest. First off, we want to keep track of the quest class, which will be a BP master quest class. Then we want to have a boolean indicating whether it's currently active. So is this the quest that we are trying to complete at the moment? Afterwards, we want an integer array called current goal indices. Next up, another integer array called hunt amounts. Also, we want to store the selected sub-goal index. This will be an integer as well, but not an array, single variable, and called selected goal index. Add another variable. This time we will name it current goals. And the type here will be goal info. Make that an array. Add another variable for all the completed goals. This will be an array as well, but the type here is completed goal. Then we want to save the state, so current state, and this does not need to be an array. Type for that will be e_quest states, and the last variable that we'll need is the current description, because you might remember that we updated according to which goals are completed. This will be a simple text variable. After you added all the variables, we will hit save, close our struct, and go to our save games folder. Open up the character save. In here, create a new variable called saved quests, which will be of the type s_saved quest that we just created and an array. Compile and save. Then open up the third person character. And we'll go to our save game to slot function. Right here, before we saved the game to slot, we want to add some space. And let's get the quest manager reference, so drag that in. We want to get the current quest actors and promote that to a local variable called local quest actors. Then drag in the local quest actors and we want to append an array. What we want to append is the completed goal actors. And afterwards we want to call append again. And this time use it to add our failed quest actors. So no matter whether we completed the quest or we failed it, we want to store all of them. So we put all of them in the array local quest actors before running a for each loop. And let's create another local variable very quickly called local saved quests. Make that an array and type will be s_saved quest. Let's copy over our quest manager and get the current quest. Check for is valid, and we'll hook that up to our loop body. Then get our local saved quests, and we will add an element to that, no matter whether it's valid or not. Let's also drag off of the struct bin here and make saved quest and expand it. If our current quest is not valid, we know that the quest we're trying to save here cannot be active, so leave that as false. For the quest class, get the array element and get class. Connect that. and do the same thing for all the other variables. So we want to get our current goal indices, plug them in here, get the hunt amounts, plug them into the hunt amounts here, get the selected sub goal index and connect that to our selected goal index here. Then get the current goals and hook them up to the current goals of our make saved quest. Do the same thing for the completed sub goals. Then finally for the state and the description. Now we will do the same thing up here. We will make as saved quest. We can connect all the things from down here except for the currently active. We'll need to figure that out soon. But before we do that, let's just very quickly connect all the variables. So selected sub goal index, then the current goals, completed goals, state, and description. Then we know that our current quest is valid, so we can perform an equal object check and plug in the array element, then hook that up to the currently active. And that's it. So we populated our local saved quest array. And once our loop is completed, let's drag over our save game object, set saved quests to our local saved quests, and connect that to the completed before saving the game to slot. We can close our save game to slot now and open up the load game from slot. Right before we return, let's go to our save game object and get its saved quests. The only thing we want to do in our third person character is promote that to a variable so we can access that later. All of the actual loading will be handled by our quest manager. We can just call that loaded quests and connect that to the set actor location and the return node. Once we did that, we can close the third person character for now, and there are some modifications that we have to do to special functions. First off, let's go to our quest widget and open up the graph here. We want to modify the select sub goal function because we want to add an input here called loaded ? And drag from that all the way to the right where we set the selected sub goal index. We want to add a branch, connect that to set is enabled, and only if loaded is false we want to set the selected sub index and switch the subquest before returning. If it's true, directly switch the subquest. And we don't need to set the selected sub goal index because that is loaded in the quest manager. Compile and save. Afterwards, go to onQuestSelected and add another input here. Again, this will be called loaded ? Just plug that in for a loaded of the select sub goal function call. Compile, save, close the quest widget. Now we can go to blueprints, actors, and open up the BP quest manager. Here, let's go to our select new quest function. Create another input. Again, this will be called loaded. So it's just passing through some data here from one function to another. Connect the loaded to the onQuestSelected loaded, and that's it. You can close the function now and go back to the event graph, because here we want to add a custom event. Add custom event called load quests. And what we want to do here, get a third person character, then get it the loaded quests, and we want to cycle through them using a for each loop. First off, let's break the array element up here, and we want to add the quest class to our all quest classes. So add an element, connect the quest classes, hook up the loop body. Let's actually expand our break save quests here. After we added it to the all quest classes, let's spawn actor from class with the quest class assigned. Quest manager will be a reference to itself, Then you can split the spawn transform, leave everything at the default, and collision handling override will be always spawn, ignore collisions. Let's promote that to a variable called loaded quest, and then drag in the loaded quest because we want to set up the variables in there now. Meaning, let's start with the current goal indices, set current goal indices to the current goal indices of the break node, then set hunted amounts to the hunted amounts here, connect that. Afterwards we can set the selected sub goal index, again that comes from our break node, set current goals to the current goals here, and set completed goals. Then set state, and finally we want to set current description to that from the break node. Okay, now align all of those set nodes up here. Again, let's get the loaded quest, get its current state that we just set. Technically you could also use this bin here, it's the same variable, and we want to use a select node. For the current quest, we'll drag in our current quest actors array, plug that in, and then get the completed quest actors, plug them in, as well as the failed ones. So basically we select the appropriate array, and then we want to add an element to that, which is the load quest, obviously. Afterwards, get the main widget, get the journal. We want to add an entry. The quest actor is a loaded quest. By the way, if you want to, of course, you can also save which quest is selected in the journal currently, but I don't think that's necessary, and it should not be too complicated to do, so feel free to add that in your personal project. After we added the entry, we have to check whether we also need an entry in our quest widget on the right side of the main widget, so for the current active quest. So let's check whether our current state equals current quests, and let's add a branch. If it's false, we don't have to do anything, but if not, so if it's true, let's get the main widget again, and we want to call add quest to list, connect the loaded quest to the quest actor again. Then we have the widget that is returned. So off of the loaded quest, we want to set quest widget to the widget in here. Afterwards, we want to call update for the widget, update quest. And now we created a quest entry for this. The other thing, we want to check whether this quest is currently active, so drag a long wire to the right side, and again add a branch. Again, if it's false, don't do anything, but if it's true, get the widgets, sub-goal widgets, get from that, and for the index, get a loaded quest, get the selected sub-goal index, as well as the current goal indices, and in our current goal indices we will try to find the selected sub-goal index, plug that in for the get node, and when it's true we want to call select new quest, the quest being a loaded quest, check the loaded and connect the get node to the sub-goal. The last thing we need to do is get our main widget again and get the slide out boolean, not the animation, and add another branch. If that is true, we want to drag off the main widget and play animation. And the animation is slide out, so connect that, but we want to play it reverse to slide it in. Then set slide out to false. So that's all of the logic to load our quest, but we need to call that custom event, which we will do in a third person character. Let's go to the event graph, start game, off of the load, drag all the way to the right, add a branch. Right here before we add to the viewport. If it's false, just add the main widget to the viewport, but if it's true, we want to drag in our quest manager reference and call load quest before adding the main widget to the viewport. Alright, so let's check whether that's working. If we play, you will see that we have some save files already. Those won't work anymore because we made changes to the way our game is saved. If that occurs to you as well, just right click on any asset, show in Explorer, navigate back to your project, saved, save games, and delete all the files in here. So let's check whether that is working now. If we play, we need to start a new game. And let's get our first quest here. My first quest ever, hunt spiders. If I hit M, I can select the slot to save. If I now play again, load the game, you see that I've got the first quest ever. If I open up the journal, it appears here as well. And let's quickly complete that by killing our 2 spiders, then picking up the mystical cone, and finally talking to Ram. Our quest is completed, it appears in the completed category. If I hit M again, save, reload, you see that I don't have any active quests, but if I hit J under completed, you will see my first quest ever. So that's working properly, but the problem that you probably already noticed is first, the mystical cone is still appearing in a level even though we picked that up before saving the game. And if we have a look at our robo NPC, the question mark still appears though he has given us the quest before saving. So we need to tell our NPCs and object that the game was loaded. The objects have to check whether they are still needed or if they can be deleted, and the NPCs have to see whether they can still give out a quest or whether that's already added. Let's start with our objects first. So we will go to our actors, objects, master object, add a custom event on game loaded, this will be called. We will give it one input, which will just be the quest manager. And here what we will do is get the character, so the third person character, get his obtained objects, and we will check whether that contains get class of the object self. Plug that in for the contains, add a branch. So basically this will check whether we were picked up by the player, and if so, we can just call destroy actor. So that should do it for our master objects. For our master NPC, we will open them up first and then add a custom event on quests loaded, this will be called. We will give it one input again, which will be the quest manager, just as in our object. VP quest manager reference, and when we load the quests, our generic NPC will just check, do I have a quest? So has quest is valid, and if that's true, we want to check whether the all quest classes contains the has quest. Plug that in for the end, add a branch. If that's true, we'll get our question mark and set visibility to hidden. Now we actually need to tell our NPCs and objects that the game was loaded, which we will need to do in our blueprints, actors, BP quest manager, in the load quest Here we want to create a new function first called getAllObjects, which will simply get all actors of class, class being master object, then promote the out actors to a variable called allObjects in world, same as we did with the all NPCs in world before returning. In our event graph, on event begin play, we want to call getAllObjects, and then when we load quests, we want to cycle through all of our NPCs first, all NPCs in world, add a for each loop, and we want to call on quest loaded and plug in a reference to self for the quest manager before doing the same thing for all objects in world for each loop, and then call on game loaded. Again, connect the self and hook up both for each loops. If we were to play again and load our game, you will see that the mystical cone has disappeared because it was already picked up, and Robo doesn't have a question mark anymore. Thing now is that we have two different NPCs that give you quests based on your prestige and level. For those two, we need to override the onQuest loaded event, which we will do now. So go to our characters. Let's do the level guy first. One thing I should have already done in the episode where we created the level guy was to promote the default message that we set here to a variable called message after quest given, and making that editable and exposed on spawn. Default value should just be what we typed in before. And now we want to override onLoaded for our level guy. What we want to do here is get the third person character, get the current level, and check whether that is greater or equal to the required level for this quest. Add a branch. If that's true, we want to set canGiveQuest to true. And then we want to get the all quest classes. Check whether that contains the quest to give. Add another branch. If it's true, we will set hasGivenQuest to true, and we want to set the default message to the message after given quest. But if it's false, we will drag in the question mark and set visibility to visible to indicate that our player can pick up a quest here. Okay. Compile and save. That's it for the level guy. Now open up the prestige guy. We'll do something very similar in here. First off, promote that to a variable message after quest given. Make that editable and exposed on spawn. Compile, save. Check whether the default message is in here correctly. Yes, it is. Then override onLoaded. And we want to get the third person character again. Get prestige by region. Drag in the required prestige and break that. Connect the region to the in region here. Check whether the player's prestige is greater or equal to the prestige from required prestige. Then add a branch. If that is true, that canGiveQuest to true. Afterwards, get the all quest classes, contains the quest to give. Add a branch. If it's true, set hasGivenQuest to true, and set default message to the message after quest given. If it's false, get the question mark and set visibility to visible. Okay, compile and save. If we play now, you will see that both of them show a question mark. That's because we are level 4 and have enough prestige, so I can talk to either of them to get our second quest. If I save the game now and continue, you will see that both of them are not showing the question marks anymore, and if I talk to them, they show their message after they have given the quest. Okay, that was the final part of my quest system series. I will now upgrade the project to 4.15 and very quickly build an example project to properly showcase the system and what it's capable of. You will be able to find the download link in the showcase video, and probably tomorrow I will make a video about the voting for the upcoming series topic, so make sure you participate in that. Alright, thank you for watching, I hope you had fun and learned something, and until next time.